Hey, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Save the Track Bike. This is a sprint episode. So just to remind you, these are like mini episodes focused on like race coverage and promoting races and stuff. So on this episode, I got James Grady from Mission Crit, which is coming up on April 21st. And registration opens up this Friday on March 9th. So definitely think about doing that race because it seems like it's pretty rad. And then also I have a bonus conversation at the end of my conversation with James from Mission Crit. I talked to Carlos Perez from Sunday Strong because there's a crit in Denver this weekend. So this is coming out on March 7th. And the crit is on March 11th in Denver. So if you're in Denver, if you're in town, definitely make it out. And stick around after my conversation with James and hear more about that. So I kind of just wanted to start with kind of the history of Mission Crit and the story of it and how it's become what it is.
So it started when I was a young boy. I had dreams of bike race glory. No, that's a bunch of shit. Actually, what happened was I moved to San Francisco in 2008, and when I got here, I didn't have any money to join a gym, so I started running. I did that for a while, and I got tired of it, so I got a bike. I hadn't had a bike in a while, and I really missed it. So I got a bike to start commuting around, and that one fell apart. So I got a better bike, which is it was a Mossy. They put them out a couple years ago. It was like blue with a chrome fork or something, but it was a fixed gear, or it had track dropouts. So I started riding around on that and, getting better at it and feeling like I wanted to start doing some races or something. And I heard about the Red Hook Crit somehow, probably on Reddit or something. So I heard about the Red Hook Crit, and I found out that Dave Trimble, threw a race for his birthday. And this was like 2 months before my birthday at the time. So I'm like, you know what, that sounds awesome. I think I want to do that because I want to meet more people who are involved in cycling in San Francisco, just so that I can maybe make some friends and meet some people who have similar interests, because I had no idea how to get into bike racing, specifically, racing track bikes, which is the bike that I had and that I like to dick around the city on. So I decided to throw a race, and I posted about it on Reddit, and some kid responded, and he's like, meet me at MASH and we'll talk about it. And so I did. And this kid's name was Jan. He was around for a while, but he joined the Marines actually. So he's not really involved anymore in the scene, but I met him at MASH, and that was actually the first time I'd ever been to MASH, if you can believe it. So anyways, we got this thing going, and I picked out a spot that I thought was good, and it ended up being in the parking lot just south of AT&T Park. I stole a bunch of I borrowed a bunch of traffic cones, and I got some yellow construction tape and put it up. People, when we got there and I had it all set up and the riders started arriving, they're like, what are you going to do for numbers? How are we going to be able to keep track of people? And I'm like, fuck. So I went to the grocery store like half a mile away, and I bought paper plates and some safety pins. And we literally wrote the numbers on the paper plates and pinned them to jerseys or T-shirts or whatever people were wearing at the time. So to think about going from that in 2014 to having UCI Pro Tour people come out and race Mission Crit in 2018, it's like I don't know. I can't really believe that it's happened, but I guess it goes to show how excited people are for this sort of racing and how underserved it is. Because, outside of the Red Hook Crit and Mission Crit, there's not a lot of opportunity to do this sort of race. And I think that's part of the reason why my race has gone from, in the span of 5 years, from a bootleg race in a parking lot to a race where people travel internationally to compete in. I really like, that's one of the things whenever I talk about fixed gear crits with people, that is one of like the three things that I always hit on. Like we need to find a way to grow this sport, right? We can't rely on people just coming, roadies retiring and deciding that they want to try their hand at this, fixie crit stuff because it looks fun. We've got to figure out a way to help grow the sport naturally. And that's where the long-term success is going to come, I feel.
What can people expect who are like kind of new to racing and stuff if they come to like a mission crit, and like what are things that people should be prepared for?
So I've actually been getting a couple of emails specifically asking about that, which is really interesting. And it feels good that people who have never raced before want to come out and race, because that's exactly what this is for, right? Like this is all about having fun and riding bikes with your friends. The fact that we're getting some top level competitors, for me, that's a bonus, right?
Yeah.
The whole, like I said, the whole reason I started this was to meet people and make friends. And I think that anybody who, plugs themselves into the community and contributes in a positive way, that's one of the reasons why they do it. Nobody's going to get famous doing this. Nobody's going to get rich doing this. It's all about community and all about friendships. But okay, so back to your original question. What you can expect as far as competition, we are going to have 2 races. We'll have like the main men's race. If you qualify for that, you'll be able to compete in that. But if you don't make the cut, we'll have another race. So for instance, the Southern California Fixed Series had 2 different categories, right? There was essentially like an A race and a B race. And so we'll have the same thing. So you can come out and, you'll still get to race. And you won't necessarily, if you're new to this, you won't necessarily have to worry about going up against, Specialized Rocket Espresso your first time out on a bike. So the emails that I've been receiving asking for advice about how to get started in this, that goes back to what I was talking about. Like, there's not really any way to like get into this, and there's no minor leagues essentially. Sorry, this is a really long-winded explanation. So I see one of 2 ways that somebody who's just starting out can start. They can, just go out and ride with their friends and say, fuck it, I'm going to race this race, and sign up and come out and do it. Or they can go like the more traditional way and learn how to race via the road race path.
So who should we be watching out for this year? Like as far as like either teams or individual riders in both the men and women's fields?
You know what? I would love to be able to give you an answer, but I have no idea.
Yeah.
I know that
there's a lot of heavy hitters this year.
Oh my God, you have no idea. Like I just got a notification about some people who will be attending. I'm really super stoked on, but yeah, it's just going to be insane. I think the Stanridge team, I think is going to be really good contenders. That being said, just like there were a couple Olympians who came out to Red Hook, was that last year?
Yep.
And everybody was like, oh my God, these Olympic track riders, they didn't even make it out of qualifiers,
Yeah.
So I don't think that, just like you were saying, how track bikes are probably the best tool for crits. Like, I don't think that necessarily ability translates from the track to, crits, or like road racing to fixed gear crits, particularly. You've got to be like I used to play baseball, right? I played through college, and in baseball, if you're a good, solid all-around player, they say you're a 5-tool athlete, because you've got, the 5 key components of being just a really good all-around baseball player, right? So, it's very much the same with racing in a fixed gear crit. You can't have a deficit in one particular field, because you're just not going to hang. You've got to be a really solid all-around rider with all of those things, all those qualities that I mentioned earlier. So Yeah, I don't know. It could be anybody's game, just like we saw last year with Caesar. Just for a lot of us, he came out of nowhere. It was explained to me after the fact that, in fact, he is a known quantity down in Southern California. Nobody informed me, so it was a surprise to me.
Yeah.
And him and just coming and stomping these heavy hitters that were in the race last year was really incredibly impressive. So I don't know what to expect.
So what does the course look like this year?
The course is going to be the same as last year.
Okay.
Everybody that I talked to absolutely loved it, which makes me really happy because it's difficult to get the approval from all the people who live and work on the course.
Yeah.
Because everybody's opinion is equally valid, and so nobody wants an event to come and trespass or be a nuisance essentially. So keeping everybody happy is a challenge, but we're looking good for this year. The course is 1.2 kilometers. It has a very small incline. I don't even know, it's like half a block, or maybe less than half a block. It's like a quarter of a block long, and it goes up maybe, I don't know, like 15 feet, 20 feet or something like that. So that is, once they come out of the hairpin, they make a right turn that goes up the little incline. And then there's a block long backstretch that leads into a right-hand turn that goes into a chicane. And that it just flows incredibly well. I think everybody's super stoked. It's going to be an incredibly fast race.
I had a couple more things that we need to hit for sure.
Sure. Yeah.
So details about the race, like registration, all that kind of stuff, just like the date,
Yeah. So the Mission Crit 5 will be Saturday, April 21st, 2018. MissionCrit.com. I finally got that domain. We're on all the social media. I think by this point it's all at Mission Crit. April 21st is the date of the race. If you are not registering to race, which if you're listening to this, you're probably going to be registering to race. Registration opens up on Friday, March 9th. So be sure to get your ticket. If you decide not to race, please come out and spectate. I'm trying to get some food trucks out there. We're going to have a lot of cool things, and it's just such a party. The night before, we're going to have an alley cat that ends at the opening party. We'll have a DJ and bands and lots of drinks and shit like that. Low Bicycles has been the official bike sponsor of Mission Crit for the last 3 years, and I'm super stoked to have him because his bikes are just awesome, and to be able to offer something of that caliber to the winners is fantastic, because the winner for the men and the women's race, they each get a frame, and it doesn't have to be a track bike. It can be any frame that he makes. So in addition to Low Bicycles, the other sponsor who I have to give a big shout out to is Miles Cooper of BicycleLaw.com. He single-handedly has kept this race going, starting in the second year, so 2015. They have been up until this year, they've been the single biggest financial backer of the race. And I think it's fantastic. Like his belief in this race has allowed us to get to where we are today. So we wouldn't be here without him. And we've got a bunch of really cool sponsors that are lined up that they will be rolled out in the next couple weeks. And I'm just super stoked. If you can come to Mission Crit, please do. If you can't, we're going to be live streaming it. So you can follow the links that we'll be posting as soon as we get them, and follow us online.
I've had a bunch of people on this podcast that have raced your race, and everybody has nothing but really good things to say about the race, and it's super positive all the time. And everybody only has super positive things to say about you. So I just want to say thank you for doing what you do and for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Oh, well, obviously they got their checks. So So yeah, it's the $20 for every nice thing you say. I
Yeah.
mean,
So
they know
mine's
the
on the
deal.
way, right?
Well, I'm gonna have to listen back first because I don't remember you saying very many nice things. But yeah, I'll keep a tally. Yeah. Anyways, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And you're doing a great service by having this thing. So thank you, and thank you to your editor who's going to be listening to this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I think it's really cool. We're kind of on the ground floor of this, and it can be anything that we make it.
Absolutely.
Hi everyone, I'm Carlos Perez. I'm with Sunday Strong. I throw weekly group rides out here in Denver, mainly fixed gear, and we just started out doing crits a couple of years ago. We have our first crit of the year on March 11th, our mile high crit, which would be a 0.6 mile course, 25 laps. And first, second place gets a cash prize. This is something we're hoping that, we can get a lot of the locals out, take some pictures and videos, hopefully make it big, and invite other people from out of state to come in and try it out as well. I think the course is real technical, has a lot of nice turns, a nice hairpin in, and something that'll really, really excite the racer.
Yeah, so this, I don't remember if I said it at the beginning of this. I'll say it in the intro just in case, but this crit's in Denver, and it'll be in the parking lot of Mile High Stadium, right? Or what do they call it now?
So,
I don't even know what it's called now.
So there's not it's still on the Stadium Sports Authority field, but as some should know, that Sports Authority just filed for bankruptcy not too long ago, and it is no longer going to be called Sports Authority Field. So I think they're up for bid on names, but we here in Denver still call it Mile High Stadium.
Yeah, so give us the details. What time is registration?
So registration will start at 4:30. If you're early enough to come at 4:20 for a safety sesh, you're more than welcome. But 4:30 will start open registration. 5 o'clock we'll have a open course for everyone to go ahead and test out their skills and gear ratios on the course, and make sure everyone has a little bit of familiarity with it, so when they get into it, they're not so just blind to it. I know a lot of people don't have experience in crit races and don't like them to test out the course. Race starts at 6, and we're going to have, I really did want to have a women's and men's race, but I think there's only going to be mainly men coming out. So if there are any female competitors, I'm going to throw them into the men's race and just have them 15 seconds behind the start of the men's race. And then whatever place they come in, they'll share first and second prize money as same as the men's. But if there are no women's out, then yeah, it's going to be first and second place gets prize money. There'll be prizes for third and so on, but there's also going to be a raffle going on for a chain ring. So I mean, hopefully that entices some people at least to come out to race or at least spectate. This race is going to be for all skill levels. I mean, I don't want you to be deterred by, fixed gear, brakeless crit. Come out, race, have fun, test it out. Just because you don't think you're going to get first doesn't mean you shouldn't at least try and get out and experience something like this. They say it's a great spectator sport, but it's also a great, just like a sport to do, like if you really just enjoy adrenaline You don't have to be the best to compete with the best. So I think you're going to see, a pretty friendly crowd, an inviting crowd. I mean, every fixed gear race I've ever been to or thrown, we've had nothing but, people who are excited. And, no matter if you show up in a kit or some shorts and a t-shirt to race, you're welcome to race. I don't think anyone's going to say anything about it or have anything, bad to say to the person, who's inexperienced. We welcome everyone, and you're going to expect to see just people handing you a beer, handing you a joint, and welcome you to Denver racing.
For sure. Do you have anything else to add as far as where can people find info about the race? And
so currently I'm operating by myself on Instagram alone, and you could find us at Sunday_strong.
Cool. Carlos, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see people come out and race all over the country, and I'll be seeing you in some of the places as well.
Hell yeah. All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Save the Track Bike Sprints. I want to thank James and Carlos for coming on and talking about the races. I want to thank David Draper for producing this podcast. I want to thank BigScareCrit.com. The music is from Vitamin Pets. Visit us on Instagram at SaveTheTrackBike, SaveTheTrackBike.com. Now go ride your bike if you want to.